I've been thinking of starting a YouTube channel for the longest time ever. I'm excited, but also nervous that I'm finally putting myself out there and believing in myself that I can do this. Hi, my name is Estella. I'm 27 and I currently work in corporate, hopefully not forever. I've realized over time that I was someone that always had drive in me to pursue lots of things, but I never really allowed myself to dream until now. It actually pains me to say that just because I've always surrounded myself, I think, with people that somehow knew what they wanted to do with their lives, and I always felt like I was someone who never really knew what I wanted to do. In a different conversation, a different video, I can go into depth about career progression and changing careers and such, but I essentially did everything that I was told from a young age. You should go to college, get a good job, and stick with it, basically, is what I was told. But I always felt like there was something more in me that I wanted. I just never truly allowed myself to embrace that part to the fullest. So I was always a curious person, but for the most part, I would say I lived a pretty directionless lifestyle because I really spent a lot of my time doom scrolling and didn't have much hobbies growing up other than being chronically online, which is debatable whether or not that's a hobby. I basically consumed a lot of content. I'd watch a lot of videos, read articles, learn about things constantly, just researching different things. I would learn about different passive income stream ideas, different career paths and things like that, but I never really took action in really deciding, okay, if I want to do 3D design, I'm gonna go ahead and start learning 3D design, take courses, whatever. I never allowed myself to really fully get into one specific area or really try something. I would always be dabbling into a bunch of different things. And so for the past few years, I would say I was in what I call the mental hamster wheel. The way I see this mental hamster wheel is that you're interested in a bunch of different ideas. You do research all around. You feel inspired instantly. You're like, wow, this is amazing. Ultimately, you have some form of a hesitation. You don't really follow through with whatever it is that you're interested in. So it was endless consumption of content, but no execution in the end of the day. But it wasn't that I was necessarily lazy, at least in my opinion. I think ultimately it's me being unsure of myself and my abilities to actually do the thing versus just being lazy. So mental hamster wheel in the essence. But again, I always felt like I wanted to do something more with myself. It wasn't just simply school, corporate, stick with corporate for the rest of my life. I just never actually allowed myself to dream or decide on what that more that I want is. What was I doing? How was I constantly keeping myself from that, from deciding on what it is that I want to do? I'd question myself. I'm an overthinker naturally. I would just go into, again, my mental hamster wheel or overthinking mode and just be like, am I too late to start something new? Will I ever be good enough? Will anyone ever care? Will anyone be supportive of it? But ultimately, going into that rabbit hole doesn't actually do anything for me or any of us. I just avoided doing stuff. I avoided actually deciding what it is. I can have all these different ideas, like get into 3D design or motion design, get into art or whatever the case may be. I never actually set intentions for myself to actually sit down and do the work in a sense. So I didn't have clear goals. I didn't set any timeline, and I was very vague with myself. I was avoiding stuff and questioning myself all the time. And I realized over time, and probably with therapy, that I was avoiding making decisions for the longest time ever because that made me feel anxious. I wanted something for myself and I wanted it, but I wasn't actually doing anything about it because that would make things real and tangible. And if you make something real, like chasing a dream, that was a risk in my head, and that led to the fear that I had that if if this is something that's truly real to me, what's going to happen? Back to the whole questioning myself thing. So that mental hamster wheel took in charge of most of my life, I would say, and it made me feel like I was just letting life happen to me versus actually experiencing things for myself. So ultimately, consuming content, or basically over consuming content, was a disguise for myself to feel like I was actually preparing for something versus actually doing the thing. So sure, in essence, I was learning a bunch of different stuff with different ideas, like passive income stream stuff, or how to make your business out of your passion, and a bunch of different how-to videos, right? I have all this knowledge, but what am I doing with it? I never actually committed to a single one of those things. So it's like I'm learning all this different stuff, but I'm not doing anything with the knowledge that I'm learning. So basically, as long as I stayed in that mental hamster wheel, I didn't have to fail. I didn't have to actually experience failure, or that fear of failure, really, because I wasn't doing anything. But also that meant that I couldn't move forward. In the end of the day, I wasn't moving forward with any of the things that I decided, or what I thought I decided I wanted to do. So that mental hamster wheel was never about motivation. None of this is really about motivation. It's about me avoiding my discomfort of choosing something for myself, choosing an actual dream for myself, allowing myself to actually decide something that I could aspire to. And so I would say that ruled majority of my life. But in the past few years, probably ever since like after COVID, I've slowly grown frustrated with social media, especially, and the overconsumption of content. There's so much you can find these days, and it's just a lot to consume online. And so I was tired of it. In the winter, I took a basic drawing course, and it wasn't that extensive, but I think that led me to then, in October of last year, to take up a year-long animation and illustration course because I was just tired of it. And that allowed me to actually realize what I was capable of because I stuck with it. Now, even though it was a year-long course, I actually did drop out in a few months after that. So I was there for like 3 months basically. But I didn't drop out because I thought I was a failure or because I was quitting on myself. No, I got out of that course because I realized that I didn't need it to continue on with what I, at that point, knew what I wanted to do. So that was the first time I ever took a chance with myself of pursuing something, illustration and animation course. And within that first semester, I actually realized I could accomplish something if I really committed myself to it. And I didn't need to complete the rest of the course at that point. That was the most art I had done in such a long time. The last time I did that much art was probably in middle school, to be quite honest, when I was really into drawing anime. And it was such a big passion of mine, but I realized with that class, it gave me clarity in what I needed to know of myself. And so this video right now is me publicly putting myself out there, and I don't have to pretend that I have a plan or anything like that. I'm not waiting to feel ready to just put myself out there, and I much rather choose small steps, baby steps, do one thing at a time at this point, than trying to navigate that mental hamster wheel that I was in of trying to figure out multiple different things at the same time. It just doesn't work that way. I want this channel, this space, to be somewhere where I essentially am working on my journey to get to where I want to be, the dream, in essence, of creating art for a living. And I don't want to romanticize the process, because obviously it's not just rainbows and sunshines, do the art and that's it. Like, I understand that there's a journey, a process, business, strategy, marketing, all the works basically. And so I'm really gonna dive deep and explore that this year, and I'd love to basically share that along the way, because I think it's an important aspect of growth, and especially as a creative, to show the ups and the downs of the process. I think another part of it is also sharing the mindset of it all, of how to get things done, because a large part of it is not just doing the creative, doing the art. It's also, how are you going into it? What are your thoughts about yourself and doing the process itself? And so if you've clicked this video, and if you've ever felt stuck similar to the way that I have, I think you'll feel at home, I hope, here. And I really hope that this video resonated with anyone. If you're figuring things out for yourself as well, I'd love for you to subscribe and build this space with me. And if you're comfortable in sharing, I'd love to hear what you're going through right now, as well as what are your thoughts of what you'd like to start in 2026. And I'll be responding to every comment. Here's to starting regardless of where you are. And here's to starting in 2026. Let's make it the year that we're not just running in circles and we're actually doing what we say we want to do and make it happen. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.